What's going on, you bunch of heathens? Today we are checking out another Yarn Up video. It's been a while since I've seen one of their videos, but this one actually comes from my nephew who wanted me to check it out because he thought I'd enjoy it. Either way, he thought I'd enjoy it, so I thought, yeah, let's check it out. So let's jump into it.
The Battle of Kursk, the largest tank battle in World War II, witnessed a fierce German offensive clashing with determined Soviet defense. On the third day of the battle, near Teterovino village, a famous German tank ace confronted over 50 Soviet tanks, a legendary encounter with disputed details. For this controversial topic, we included both the Soviet and German perspectives, so you can decide.
Not really a big... Honestly, I'm going to say it's not really a big surprise that it's fucking disputed, considering a lot of the bullshit that happened, that came from, like, tank aces and shit after the war was written by them.
It's the 8th of July, 1943.
And the Russians also weren't very good at keeping their records.
Soldiers takes cover under heavy fire, with shells pummeling the ground and machine gun fire zipping over their heads in a brutal and disorienting frenzy. They peek over their embankment to the battlefield beyond, opening fire with their rifles. But they do little, because they aren't facing off against men, but a wall of heavy war machines. Up and down the front line, massive numbers of T-34 tanks roll through the rain of lead. It's a giant counterattack with 9 tank brigades and infantry.
God, that's a fucking lot.
The entire line is alight with the thunder of war.
And it's also been a while since I fucking watched any of their shit. I forgot how much I love their fucking animations they do. Like, I really fucking love it. Their animations are fucking killer.
The Germans retreat to their shallow trenches, just as the Soviet tanks take full advantage, powering forward towards their lines. As the tanks approach, the German infantry have a plan. They've a new weapon, a shaped charged grenade.
Ooh. I actually don't know what this is called.
The tanks rumble over the German trench. The infantry hold their breath as machine gun fire takes out a few unfortunate souls. The tanks pass and the infantry throw the Panzerwerfer mines at the backs of the T-34s. Not all are successful, but 2 T-34s are taken out by this brave attack.
It's fucking
the
ballsy.
Soviets press on. But unbeknownst to them, a predator stalks in the distance. It is the mighty Tiger I heavy tank under command of Unterscharführer Franz Staudegger of the 1st SS Panzer Division.
So
he
a
isn't
real
supposed to be
shitbag.
fighting. He'd fallen behind his unit to repair a broken suspension. But now 3 T-34 tanks roll across the field in front of him with no appreciable formation. They halt on occasion and fire at the rudimentary German trenches while surrounded by the smoke and haze of battle. It's too perfect. He points out a target to the gunner and orders, "Fire!"
Yeah, in this situation, this is like the perfect fucking situation you could be in.
Propelling the 88mm shell across the air. It streams green tracer behind it, and then punches square through the enemy's front plate, stopping it where it stands. The rest of the enemy tanks don't seem to notice, but that doesn't come as a surprise to Staudegger. He'll enjoy turning all the
Yep. As Laserpig pointed out in his video from a few years ago, but I always love going back and rewatching it every so often. The T-34 on paper was a very good tank. Problem is, manufacturing issues made it to where there were not even just this dude, but multiple accounts said that you could be shooting at a bunch of T-34s and they wouldn't notice because gunner sights were super fogged. A lot of the time were fogged up. The what would you call it? the driver port, like foggy shit. A lot of the time, the armor wasn't cast correctly. So honestly, not that big a fucking surprise. You know?
Distracted enemy tanks to scrap.
Fire!
Another bang washes across the fields, and with it, another T-34 goes up in flames.
This tank turret popper.
Weiter so!
The loader picks up another armor-piercing round and slams it into the breach, just as the gunner sets his sight on their third victim.
Fire!
The shell strikes the enemy machine, bringing it to a dead stop. But then, its turret starts to turn.
Noch eins!
The T-34 is slammed by a follow-up shot, and smoke pours out of the hatches. In little more than a minute, all 3 enemy tanks in his view are eliminated without a single return shot.
You know, I've seen footage of trying to get in and out of a fucking T-34. It is super hard to do. I do not want to be inside a burning T-34 whatsoever.
Then, more movement catches his eye. It's another T-34, and it's rolling over the railway embankment. And then another. And another. The bulk of the charge has arrived. But Staudegger is undeterred.
Better hope that
Shells rain on the enemy vehicle, and it
your
suffers
loader
the
doesn't
same fate
fucking
as his comrades before. The rest of
tired.
the tanks take notice as even more T-34s roll over the embankment. There are more than a dozen, and they are still coming. But Staudegger's Tiger strikes down another enemy, and the Soviets finally spot the German machine. One of the
God, that'd be a
T-34s
fucking scary situation to
rotates
be
its
in.
turret and returns fire. Its shell striking the earth.
Und das hat sie erst 5 Panzer gekostet.
Weiter feuern!
Staudegger now keeps on the move, carefully moving from cover to cover. The German crew take expert aim. Another T-34 bursts into flames as the wall of armor wisens up to their situation. The volume of fire headed the Tiger's way is increasing now by the second. Staudegger keeps changing his position constantly to avoid becoming an easy target.
Pretty fucking smart.
But the Soviet guns find him as an enemy shell slams into the armor with a deafening clang. But it fails to penetrate.
No, but almost guarantee you their fucking bell was rung from that.
Staudegger is completely unfazed. He knows his machine. He knows this technology is superior. These Soviet 76mm are no match for the Tiger.
And not necessarily true. Don't get me. The Tiger was good when it wanted to actually work. But no, a 76 could definitely take it out.
Ziel, 34 Grad, Feuer!
The gunner obeys without hesitation, and yet another T-34 explodes into a million pieces. More shells hit the Tiger, reverberating through the hull as the loader hurries to slam another armor-piercing shell into the breach. Another shot rings, and then another, and then another.
Damn, I can just hear the fucking war thunder noises from
The Tiger is doing
this.
its best to seek cover. But with the deluge of enemy fire, the shells are getting stuck into the armor and ricocheting every which way, but completely failing to
You might
injure
want angle,
the
bro.
seemingly invincible heavy German tank. Staudegger is still very calm, directing fire with cold and calculated precision. The Soviet losses
I gotta
are none,
remember.
but they still
I completely forgot. I gotta remember. This is the German perspective of what happened. Then we're gonna see the Russian one.
don't turn back.
Truth is probably gonna be somewhere in the
fact,
middle, though.
They push harder. The T-34s rush across the open field, away from the cover of the embankment they just drove over.
Kommt her zu mir, meine Lieblinge.
The Tiger continues to take victims left and right, firing as fast as he can reload, while shells continue pinging off its armor. Its exterior is dotted with dozens, maybe hundreds of impacts, but the beast is still completely operational.
And they're
Wir
not.
haben keine panzerbrechenden Granaten mehr.
They run out of armor-piercing ammunition, but the Germans are so confident that they switch to high-explosive ammunition, and their grim work continues.
I mean, it's not even that they're fucking. It's not even necessarily the fact that they're still believe in themselves. It's more along the lines of, we kind of have to fight. We're not able to just fucking leave. We can't retreat at this point. High explosive is going to have to work because we have no other
To
option.
support the channel, comment, like, and subscribe on this video.
I shall give it a like.
Without
I don't
any
really comment on
assistance,
anything.
Staudegger and his Tiger bring the Soviet advance to a grinding halt. Defeated, the T-34s finally see reason and reverse back to roll over the embankment into safety. Staudegger keeps barking orders to fire throughout, hell-bent on getting as many as he possibly can.
Too little, too
But
late.
eventually, they get away, and the battlefield falls into silence. Before him are 17 burning wrecks. But it's not enough.
Fahrer, mach dich bereit zum Losfahren. Wir jagen sie.
It's an incredibly
Why?
risky maneuver. They would be leaving the safety of their ambush position, while out of armor-piercing ammunition.
Yeah, why would you want to do this? Even if, for whatever reason, you're this is incompetent, but if this works, it's definitely more incompetent on the USSR. Why would you ever do this? If anything, once they retreat at this point, then you leave. There's no need to push them. You won't have the ammo for this.
And with a suspension that they've just repaired, which may not be perfect.
Es gibt nichts zu fürchten.
And it's already...
But
Just
Staudegger
leave,
doesn't
motherfucker.
care. Remarkably, despite the many hits, his tank tracks are undamaged. The Tiger's engine roars as it gets going, the driver being mindful of their ad hoc suspension repairs as they drive all the way across the kilometer-long battlefield, until they reach the embankment.
I'd be fucking worried over the fact that the engine
Then
would die.
they drive over the railway lines, and on the other side, they spot the surviving T-34 tanks and their crews regrouping in the distance.
So is no one going to call him out?
An 88mm shell washes over the battlefield one more time, propelling the shell at their targets who were totally unaware. The shell
So
detonates
incompetence.
into the gathered tanks,
Those two would be
destroying one
dead.
of them, and taking out some of the men. The crews rush back to their vehicles and open fire.
So incompetence, like I was saying.
But their shots easily bounce off, just like every single one before them. The Tiger turns its turret and crushes the closest T-34.
It's got to be somewhat embellished because, yeah, the Tigers... Something would have more than likely gotten through at this point. It's probably just a whole bunch of
with a
fucking
single
misses.
Brutal blow. Many retreat in a panic. Some try to fight back. Other tanks remain parked, their crews having fled on foot with the arrival of the fearsome Tiger. When the dust settles, 5 more wrecks have been added to the pile for an incredible total of 22 destroyed tanks by a single lone Tiger 1 under Staudegger's command. But his Tiger 1 was not unscathed, with 67 scars left by the Soviet tank commanders.
Okay, there's one. Where's the rest of the fucking picture? I want to see all the rest of the pictures for that fucking tank.
For his part in this battle, Staudegger
That was
awarded
one
the
that
Knight's
got hit.
Cross of Iron Cross.
Okay, so he bounced a bunch of shells. Yeah, what's the Soviet
It's
perspective
the 8th
look
of
like?
July,
Then?
1943.
Because it's gotta be somewhere
and
in the middle.
The 26th Tank Brigade of the 2nd Tank Corps are southeast of Prokhorovka village. The 282nd Battalion commander, Captain Leonid Rygorodsky, waits nervously aboard his T-34. He's been given an extremely vague set of orders to attack the Germans and take over 2 villages, Teterovino, near the expected line of engagement, and Luchki, a bit further on. 1630 comes around, and 32 T-34 medium tanks and 21 T-70 light tanks begin to roll. The villages were lost just the day before. Battle plans are pretty much non-existent, and all 5 company commanders and both battalion commanders have no maps of the area.
Damn.
No artillery support, and mechanized infantry has been left in the rear.
Oh, fuck. Oh, so that's real footage of it? That's cool.
But orders are orders. Soon, they hear the crackle of gunfire against the hull, and screams to open fire sound over the radio. The mass of tanks comes alive, firing volleys of high explosive shells into the German positions ahead. The 76mm guns slam backwards.
Oh. That might be why the fucking Tiger never actually got took out. I wonder, because, wait, trying to remember, did Laserpig ever mention? I'm not sure. Logistics might have been fucked, and they may not have had armor-piercing rounds to deal with the Tiger. They may have been running only HE. That might be why.
Recoil.
So I know Soviet logistics weren't good.
Tries to keep focus. His view of the world is limited to his sight and a handful of vision slits. In the T-34-76, the commander is also a gunner, so he has a hard time looking around and finding targets. Then, through the explosions, ricocheting bullets, and desperate combat chatter, he hears something. Something in the distance. Growing louder. It's the howl.
Oh, a Stuka.
A howl of a Stuka. He can only keep moving and hope as the scream grows louder and louder, a harbinger of doom, punching through every other sound to terrorize the souls of the Soviets.
Fucking, what's his fucking face? War Thunder YouTuber. Hates fucking air whenever he's playing. The fuck is his name? I feel bad. I can't remember his name. Hold on. I gotta look this up. I keep wanting to say Oddballs, but I know it isn't Oddballs. Spookston, that's his name. I thought it started with an S, but I couldn't fucking remember. And that was really starting to piss me off. Okay, yeah, Spookston POV.
A giant explosion sounds outside. The crew doesn't know if it got anyone, nor can they check, as "Forward" sounds in the radio.
Wait, so the German perspective didn't mention a Stuka, I don't think. Yeah, I don't remember that. And then, wait, I thought, so he's not the actual person in charge of this. Is this just the commander of this tank itself?
5 tanks on the right of Rygorodsky roll forward over the raised railway lines and disappear out of view. The sounds of battle grow louder, and there are several huge explosions.
Well, they got the blurriness of the fucking Russian sight. Well and good.
He and a group of more Soviet tanks head up towards the railway lines.
By the way, sorry if I sound a little subdued. I have not felt the greatest today or yesterday. And, yeah, but I wanted to make sure I got a video out.
As they crest the railway lines and the tanks go nose down, what's revealed is a terrifying sight. From the 5 tanks that went over, 3 are already burning, and the battle is ongoing and fierce. Rygorodsky's tank
watch out for
fires, pummeling the enemy lines. Plumes of dirt rise into the air, and flashes of orange pierce through the haze, exploding masses of metal that used to be Soviet tanks. The
God,
Soviets
that'd be so
are
fucking
under intense
disorienting.
Fire. Mortars, anti-tank grenades,
God, look at
artillery,
that, just
and
bouncing
tank fire
everywhere.
is raining down upon them. The Germans are firing with all they have. Captain Rygorodsky sees his comrades falling all around him, never to rise. He orders his driver into cover behind a burning tank while he tries desperately to piece together the situation. Radio chatter is saturated with comrades calling out targets, trying to organize in vain, and talking over one another. Rygorodsky searches the terrain on his own with his small and basic optic. He sees nothing until suddenly a bright muzzle flash betrays the enemy's position. It's so far away, even knowing where he is, he can barely see more than a dot. But he tries to aim anyway.
Shitty situation.
Their lives depend upon it. The crosshairs land on the source of the flash, and he fires. The shell flies off.
I'm assuming this is still HE.
He has no clue where it landed. He fires again, and again. All around him, tanks open fire at the many enemies, but do little as one by one, they're struck down. The situation is completely untenable.
Are they gonna say it's not a Tiger and that it was more fucking field gun?
Is unable to take a kill shot. At last, an order comes through the radio. The brigade commander orders the retreat. One by one, the T-34s start their retreat. Then Rygorodsky joins them, backing up while shells crash all around them. Low-caliber bullets ping off the armor as they all run for the safety of the embankment. But the Germans aren't letting off, and another tank nearby explodes into flames. Safety's close, tantalizingly close. Another shell slams into the ground next to them. Rygorodsky's heart is racing as they retreat in an attempt to save themselves. An 88mm shell zips across the battlefield. Its green tracer trails out behind it. It's heading straight for a T-34, Rygorodsky's tank. The shell punches straight through. The crew become yet another group of men on the list of the Soviet Union's massive tally of fallen.
Okay.
The remaining T-34s and T-70s roll over the railway lines, under fire all the way. The German panzers stop firing. They're safe for now. At the end of the day, 21 T-34s and 1 T-70 would be destroyed in total. 5 of the wrecks were located before the railway lines, out of sight of Staudegger, most likely victims of artillery or Stukas.
Makes sense.
In the main battle area, the high volume of fire made it impossible to discern which kills were made by whom. But that didn't stop German high command, who disregarded the actions of the other participants in the battle. Instead, they credited all the kills of the day to Staudegger, parading him as a war hero and using it.
Oh, so propaganda. So yeah, it was in the middle of it. It was more so leaning more towards the Soviets, but definitely more so in the middle. Yeah, it makes sense. He's fucking SS. Of course the fucking government's gonna try to use him as a fucking propaganda machine.
As an example of the might of the invincible Tiger.
Okay, that makes sense.
Franz Staudegger would survive the war and was never prosecuted for his part in the SS.
When he really should have been.
Peacefully in 1991.
Ah, fuck this dude. You're part of the SS. You're like, no. No. Screw this dude.
Support the channel and download World of Tanks using the link in the description.
Was this... Did I miss that part? Yeah, did I miss that part? I don't remember. Oh, I wonder if that's a leftover. I don't remember seeing a World of Tanks ad in there. Who knows? Either way, that was a pretty good video. As usual, from Yarnhub, I like it. A lot of it, I could tell from the German side, a lot of it was fucking embellished, though. But overall, pretty fucking nice. I liked it. Make sure you can go and check out the original video and give them a like. Subscribe to them. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of me. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.